I really wanted to do some craft videos because crafting is what I do most of the time besides working at my shop. And yeah, so I just wanted to show you how to make the numbers that I've been making. But for this one, out of paper, because I used to make some of them out of cardstock. But that's back when I used to work at the call center and yada 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 yada. But anyway, what I'm doing here is grabbing my supplies, which, let's be for real, I'm not using all of the stuff. Just using some of it. I have just so much craft stuff. This is not even a little teeny portion of it. It's just over the years and months of collecting so much craft things. Yeah, I have a lot of craft things. But yeah. So just grabbing my supplies. And I can get started with the video, I guess. Any minute now. No, I was adding more stuff. I don't know why I pulled all this stuff out. I didn't need it. But I mean, I like to have options. So many options. I'm sorry, I have to skip this. Never mind, there's not much left. I just need to stop being impatient. Okay, here we go. Jumping straight in. I was going to draw the number 1 freehand, you know, like people do. But let's be for real. I cannot do that. So I went and traced it off the computer like I normally do because I can't freehand draw numbers. I don't know, especially not the ones where it's like boxy and stuff. I can't do that. I don't know why I even sat down there and pretended like I could. Sometimes you just try and give yourself hope. And yep. So yeah, once I traced it, cut it out because yeah, it's my template now. I just had to fast forward this part because I don't know why I was cutting so slow. This whole project was really took longer than it needed to be. Even though the cardstock one does take longer because you end up having to use glue and it is the messiest one. So yeah, once I was done cutting out that one that I don't know why I kept trimming, which was weird, but perfectionist people problems. I was deciding if I wanted to do that red because at first I was going to do Elmo, and I was like, I don't feel like using that red. Definitely not that red on the table that's already red. So I used gold. Changed my mind at the last minute. The plan actually was to make the paper number 1. My voice. The paper number 1 and a foam number 1 and a cardboard number 1, you know, out of the trifold boards, but lazy people problem. So I only got around to doing this one. Well, I made the foam board one, I just didn't decorate it. That'll come in another video. So, yeah. I decided to trace this onto the cardstock, and yeah, that was another thing. The white is only paper, so I couldn't turn it into the number if I wanted to. I had to use cardstock, and the gold was actually thicker than the red. Let's zoom this up just a little bit. Honestly, most of the time when I'm doing this, I'm literally laying in my bed talking about these videos, and it's late at night, so groggy voice. That's what happens when you're lazy. But at the same time, you get a video. Yeah, after I finished the number 1 that's out of cardstock, then I had to take the same cardstock and cut my strips. For some reason, when I went to put the paper down, I don't know why, but I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and I was thinking of millions of other things like I normally do, doing too much. So anyway, you got to cut the strips out of paper, measure where you want them, You don't actually have to use this cutting board. You can just measure with a ruler, or if you want to eyeball it, eyeball it. I usually eyeball it. I usually don't use this cutting thing because, again, laziness is real. But once I get done this, I'll show you exactly how you can do it the other way. The other way is actually better. You'll see. Give me a second to move things along. Funny thing is, you probably can't see it, but because it's going so fast, but why was I messing up the papers? Like I was cutting them wrong and it was going all over the place. That's another reason why I don't use that cutting board to cut them, because it's actually for making creases in paper, not for cutting up strips of paper. Then I went and got my glue. I use Elmer's glue all because it's, I don't know, for me it's the best crafty type of glue to use for this type of project. I don't know, there might be other better glues, but am I going to test them out? Maybe. I'm not going to say no, but I'm not doing it right now. Anyway, back to the project. Like I was saying, the best way to do it is to do like I'm doing right here, which is folding the paper and tearing it. The tears are really good for holding the glue onto the number when you go to glue it down. Like I'm showing you right here, the tears, they are the best thing to help keep the sides down onto the number. I mean, it's not necessary because I was able to do it without doing the teared papers, but I actually like the teared papers better because I just do. But anyway, you take your strips, you lay down your Elmer's glue, and you start going around the edge of the one. Mind you, you have to hold it there for a second or so. There's that grog. You have to hold it there for a second or so, just so that way you can, let the glue dry just a teeny bit. It dries pretty good. I mean, glue all, it doesn't completely dry right then and there, but it dries enough for you to move on to the next part. And this I'm going to speed up just a little bit too because I am impatient, and as beautiful as this looks, it's also messy and not fun to watch for me. Okay, so you're gluing your strips all around the edge. You have to make all the curves, the grooves, all that good stuff. It's a long process, and I had to keep moving it because, the glue was going to get on part of the one. Mind you, I really should have did the one backwards. Like I should have flipped the one and did it backwards, so that way if one side comes out wonky, at least the front looks straight. Mistakes that I guess, you make. Especially since I haven't done this way in a while. It's been a long while, too. I haven't really made too many things out of cardstock in a minute. I make everything pretty much out of foam board now. It's honestly a lot easier. All you need is a glue gun, some foam board, and a cutter. So yeah, once you get it glued down, you have to take glue and go all on the inside. It's easier usually when I have the little teeny Elmer's glue bottles, because I can just go along the inside without having to worry about maneuvering in all those creases. And I don't think my numbers ever usually are this small when I do them out of cardstock, but I don't remember because I I haven't done this in a minute. The side was wonky already, so I was trying to smooth it out, but it's really something I should have did before I glued it down. So yeah, after that, you take your paper, you put it down, but you put your glue all over the edges of the number 1 or whatever number you're doing. You just put your glue all over the edges, and here I am being a perfectionist yet again with this weirdo number. But anyway, you put your glue all over the edges, all around the edge. Just enough so that way you can sit the one down. Once that's done, you gotta make sure you sit it down on the paper. Make sure it fits and it goes all the way on the paper like it's supposed to, because things can go really bad really fast and end up looking really weird in the end. And then you can readjust as many times as you need to. Find any spots that are like all over the place or really different looking, like how I found that spot that was different looking, but that was something that should have been fixed before it got glued down. But either way, no matter how much I fixed that part, it was doomed from the beginning. And it's funny because on the top you can see where all the glue got stuck and dried and stuff. That's where all those little stain looks are from the Elmer's glue. And this is my favorite part, honestly, when I can take the glue and go along the edges so that way you can glue the whole thing down. It's really easy, actually. I don't know why I kept adjusting it. I was trying to fix it, but in the end, it didn't make it better. It really didn't make it better at all. But yeah, I took the glue. I took the glue and went along the edges. Try to lay that sucker down. But my perfectionist problems kept kicking in. Once I was done gluing it down, I had to, look at it, make sure I got all my stuff. You can see it's glued to the paper. Like, the glue dries pretty good. It just takes a long time for it to fully dry. But once it was fully glued down, I had to sit it off to the side to work on my other one. But I had to come back to it because I forgot to put the paper and the books and things. Normally I put like stacks of paper on top of it so it could be heavy. But as you can see in that picture, like the one side was perfect, the other side is wonky. And then I sat here for a good minute trying to figure out how the heck can I fix the fact that this number 1 came out wonky. Now, if it had been the back, it wouldn't even matter because, normally you don't use the back. I mean, you don't pay attention to it. It's usually positioned somewhere where you don't see the back at all. But that's what I was saying about making sure you flip it before you oh my god, I lost my train of thought. Flip it before you go to glue it down so that way at least one side is perfect and the other side can be a little bit weird. But yeah, I sat here for a good minute trying to figure out what to do because yeah, I messed that number 1 up. But everything can be fixed some way, somehow. Well, almost everything. But yeah, what I started to do here was separate the crepe paper because I had an idea to do a piñata type thing. So I had to separate the crepe paper and, cut the pieces so that way it looks like a piñata. And this was the result. It turned out to be this cute little #1 unicorn. I don't know why it's the same color as that blanket. Not so much the unicorn's hair, because the hair is purple and blue, but the color of the unicorn's skin, like, that's just creepy. Only because I don't know, that was supposed to be white, but it was tan. Maybe it was old, or maybe that was the color and I just didn't read the package. But either way, it turned out cute. I really like it. And it is actually a lot more sturdier than you think, depending on how thick your cardstock is. But that's all. That's all. So next time I'm going to show how I did how I do the number with foam board instead of cardstock. I like the cardstock way. If it's an emergency and you don't have any foam board and you got paper and you're just doing it for like a little fun project or really quick. But yeah, this isn't something that I would be selling, the cardstock ones. I sell the foam board ones because they're sturdier and they are easier to transport and easier to put together too. But you'll see that in the next video. Not going to make it a unicorn. I'll probably make something else. Something different. Maybe I'll do a cat or a dog.